Welcome to another episode of the Headlight Restoration Pro, where I'll be showing you the importance of a proper tape off and how to do it and what not to do and what to look forward to, and also how to turn headlights like this into something more like this in a fast forward edition. Because once again, this is about the importance of taping off properly. Let's get down to business. So the importance of taping off a vehicle starts with the proper tape. You want to have automotive finish tape. That is normally this green hue, this neon green hue of tape, which usually symbolizes that it is finished tape. Finished tape is designed for paint that is already finished painting, to not peel the paint, not to lift the paint, not to damage the paint, not to leave material behind on the paint. And in most cases, even kind of cleans the paint area that you laid the tape upon. You generally want to start from one area. I usually start on the inside corner and go all the way around. That is just an old credit card that I'm using. If you get those solicit letters or you just have an old card that is useless, just make sure that it's old and not activated, or nothing can come from it. You don't want to lose it and have somebody playing with your account. Of course, that would be not good. This is just a card from an advertisement in the mail. Has no name on it, nothing like that. I just use it because they are the perfect things to get in between those hard to tape areas there, those hard places to get the tape in. And once you get the tape in, you want to make sure that it's laying flat on the inside edge. You don't want it laying on the light, because when you go to shoot it or spray it, you're going to have it sticking to the light and you can peel off a piece of the actual sealant. I chose this vehicle to do this video I've been meaning to do because it is a difficult tape off. It has different areas of different seats. Like this area here, the light is tucking underneath the actual bumper molding of the vehicle. Not all lights are equal in any way, especially taping. This one is a very difficult tape off here, and also it is a somewhat of a show car. It is a BMW 3 Series V8. It's a very beautiful car, and this is a special paint on it. So you want to pay special attention to not damage and special attention to your tape off. You want to be comfortable enough to perform your job, or comfortable enough to do what you need to do with this headlight. You don't want to have to worry about damaging the vehicle too much. But as you see, I go here with an overlapping method in one direction. This comes in handy at the end where you're taking the tape off. It comes off 9 times out of 10, like 90% all the way off. You just one pull. You don't want to sit there and have to go through the same process again at the end if you do not follow one straight line that overlaps. This way they all kind of link together. Also notice that I am not doing huge long pieces. I'm doing little pieces that connect to each other. This helps with the fitment of the tape. Also notice in the application near the light, I'm using a scissoring motion, kind of flossing it through, the crack between the light and the actual bumper of the vehicle. Always a must is to overlap tapes, such as here, and always a must to at least 2 layers, the very minimum 2 layers of tape next to where the drill is going to be touching, which is where the light meets the bumper. In special cases like this, you're going to see that areas I am taping off 4 or 5 times, taping off a little extra on those areas that the drill will be hitting, the areas with like the corners and tight spots. taping those off even extra, more than 2 times, because in my experience, I know what areas those are, but you will find out as well. If you think the drill will touch or be more prone to touching any certain area, you want to apply more tape to that area. This tape is lightweight sanding repellent or sanding resistant, as long as you don't just hold it on one spot for too long. A quick brush or 2 or 3 won't do anything to the tape. Using my credit card once again to really floss it in there, really get it in there nice and snug. And once again, the reason why this is you don't want the tape inside that area between the light and the bumper to just sit loose, because then when you go and spray it, and once again you'll have a piece of tape inside of there touching the coating, and you want that coating to get all into those cracks and little spots. You don't want those spots not to have them, because then it's a peel hazard, or the clear coat will fail easy. More tape on those hazard areas where the drill might be hitting a little bit more. Now I am flaring out to another must. You must, in any professional headlight restoration that you're using power tools, especially, or spray UV coating, or really any UV coating, you want to go down at least 3 inches away from the light, and that's in all directions. 3 inches away from the light. Sometimes I do 4 or more, just to make sure that I don't harm this finish, just to make sure, the spray does not overshoot, although these cans, like I said, are designed for this, so they have special tips on them that are directional. Wipes sometimes drip, they're extra juicy. You don't want that stuff dripping on the paint. It will come off, but it's just one more thing you don't want to have to deal with. Also, one of the primary reasons to flare out these 3 inches or more all over the headlight is because when you have a light like this, you're trying to get in those nooks and crannies, or even some lights have weird angles, it will throw your drill. Your drill has so much RPM that you think you can handle it even with 2 hands, but it will throw your hand or your arm off center or off balance, and you will hit these sides or even go off past these paints, and then you will have scrapes on the vehicle. And if you do not know how to remove those, it's a pain. If you do, it's still a pain, because it's more time and it's more work, and scratch removal costs money. Time is money, whether you know how to do it or not. I do scratch removal as part of my services, but still, it's time is money, and you don't want to have to sit there for another 15-20 minutes trying to work some scratch out of a vehicle. Now, I don't normally use this credit card on all vehicles. It's just that this particular sports vehicle is really different. It's really seated different places and tightly all around the light. The general term is taping off, but I like to say casting off sometimes, kind of like making a cast. You break a bone or whatever, it protects your bone. Just think of the car as your bone. I pretty much form a cast around the light. That is safety first. Once again, I do this professionally, and I do not want to damage a vehicle. And whether if you're doing it for your grandma's car, your friend's car, you should always think the same way. Now going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Going to do a fast forward version of showing the full headlight restoration. First step here, using a P500. Nice, smooth, even strokes. Paying special attention to those corners and those edges, slowing down, because this vehicle has some sharp edges and tucked away edges. Do not want to damage or eat through that tape. Seeing there, I'm moving the pad to get in between that area in a flossing motion, smoothing away those swirls. turning the swirls into horizontal or vertical lines if need be. Those are easier to mask. Those are easier to remove in the next step. This step here, the second step, we're using a P800 white sanding disc. This is the disc used to pretty much, it's like the cleanup crew. The first disc, the orange one, the gold one, the P500 is a demolition crew. Look at it that way. It's good philosophy. This one just kind of cleans up the mess and makes it easier for this next step, which is a P3000 Trizac pad. It is like a sponge. It is a very fine polish designed for wet sanding. It's kind of a cross between polish and sanding. It is one of the magic pads. It's one of the best things. Meant to be used with water. This next step after that was the glass cleaner and wiping it free with a microfiber towel. This next step here, using the Finesse-It orange pad, designed by 3M. It is by far the best one. 3-inch 12-volt polisher to produce enough friction and heat with that, using a hard lens and plastic polish. Those work the best, especially the ones that are designed for headlights. Finishing off here with a UV clear coat. There's a couple out on the market. The spray versions work the best. You can't use the towelettes, but I advise you to use the spray versions. They work the best by far. And I've done over 1,000 headlights with different ones and different things. And I still use different kind in certain aspects of headlight restoration or certain times. If it's windy, I'll use a wipe instead. But I swear by the spray. And I have literally done over 1,000 headlights, ladies and gentlemen. Always feel free to like, subscribe, or share. Feel free to ask any kind of questions. I will respond as soon as possible. And here you have it, your finished product of the headlight. Once again, this is not so much about the headlight this time. This is more about the proper tape off and the potency of the tape off. You see that? No nicks, no dings, no nothing in the tape. The tape held up. It's like a shell, like a cast, and this is what you want when you tape things off, when you tape these headlights off. Alright, it's been about 10 minutes since I applied that UV clear coat. It's nice and dry, it's fan dried, it's about 70 degrees outside, so it was really dry about 5 minutes ago at this point. See how you just kind of, use your fingernail or the tip of your finger to draw up the tape, and once you get enough to just grab, you kind of, pull off. Like I said, this light had some really tight recesses, so I'm going really slow on this, and you see how I'm kind of pinching and this and that. You don't want to lay your hands on the headlight. Even though it's dry, it's still going to take about 24 hours, about 16 to 24 hours to fully cure, depending on the temperature. So I advise all the people I do headlight restoration for not to touch on them for about 24 hours, not to wash the vehicle for about 24 hours. But you see the magic of that tape going the proper direction from one side, preferably the inside corner, to the wrap all the way around. Most of the tape comes right off. The initial taping of the vehicle takes about 40% of the headlight restoration time. Taking it off counts to like 0.5%. It's really easy to remove this way if you follow the proper steps in taping off a vehicle. See how all that just pulls right off. Now, if you noticed, I left that little piece right there just to show you, don't fuss with it too much. Get what you can get off and come back to that. You see how I fold that towel here, and you always want to clean up after yourself. You don't want to leave any kind of, overspray or water or detergents or anything like that on anybody's vehicle, especially if they have a nice paint job like this. You just don't want to do it. You never know what happens if sun hits something. Water creates water spots on paint. What would Windex do? What would this dust do? Who knows? You just don't want to go there. So notice how I left that tape there because it was giving me trouble getting it out because the recess is so tight in there, and sometimes the tape just rips. So if you have tweezers or something like that, I have a pack of dental tools. As you see there, it's just like a little floss pick with a hook on it, and I just kind of dig it out. It's just whatever you can do without touching on the headlights. And all being fair, you could probably touch on them because it's dry to the touch right now. But it is not a good idea. I do not like touching on the headlights. Like I said, you need to wait a couple of hours, if not 24 hours. It's not fully cured yet. It's good to drive. It's good for weather. It's good for whatever. It's just a touching that I have an issue with and is not advised. And there you have it from the Headlight Restoration Pro, how to properly tape the tape. You want to go around in one circle, you want to overlap, you want to go one direction, and that way it's easier to take off in one direction. Please like and subscribe to this channel for future content. Coming soon, we have dozens and dozens of product reviews for home do-it-yourself kits. DIY do-it-yourself kits, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to buy and showcase and review all of them.